Well, hello there. Welcome to Versions, the series where I try to survive 100 days of hardcore Minecraft in every version of the game. Today, we're in 1.9, the combat update. A controversial update to say the least, but we're not here for that. We're here for the facts. It came out on February 29, 2016, leap year, and it took until May 10th to be completed. This version is widely considered to be the death of Minecraft, but I see it as the almost halfway point. So without further ado, let me tell you the tale of the day I almost captured Captain Jack Sparrow. Wait, no, wrong story. Spawning in on day 0, I have a good and bad news for you. Bad is that I didn't bring my Steve suit on. Good is that I had a proper skin on. No weird haircut or mouth to get in the way of me getting my starter pack. Wood, tools, food. I even got a bed. Then I took my first step into the controversy. A shield. Hide your eyes, young ones. I also made a bucket and some armor to help me take on this Enderman, but the stone roof proved to be the better equipment. I continued my mining trip and ended up with a clock and a full set of armor and diamonds, which means only one thing: obsidian. But while mining it, I thought, why don't I just build it with my bucket? Going in, I had one mission: find another fortress, get blaze rods. A weather skeleton tried stopping me, but his stone sword is no match to my stone sword. These blazes hurt, so I resorted to the kneecaps, but they were munching on in the corner, so it was hard. I also had to do some maintenance to the killing chamber. This has to be one of the hardest blaze rods getting adventures of this series. They were not missing and fire really hurts. But no matter, I push on. Have you noticed what I'm doing? Have you? I'm speedrunning. That's right. And I know, already 1 hour in and got all blaze, no pearls, but that's just the way I like it. Everything new in this version is in the end, so I'm trying to get there as quick as I can. That's one of my goals. Overworld time, finding a desert temple, where I got a saddle, fortune 3 book, and a nut chapel. Then with 1 pearl from before, I started to look for the stronghold. But it broke on my first throw. So I stayed in the desert and tested out the new fighting mechanics on the Enderman, and a witch, and more Endermen. Coming out with 4 pearls. I have forgotten which way the pearl had gone. Good thing I made an arrow to point me in the right direction. Boating on a new kind of boat, the pearl finally turned around. But my math was a bit off. And again. But there was a cave, so I stayed down. But nothing. 1 more eye is all I needed to find the stronghold though. So exploring it yielded 2 diamonds, 1 pearl, and a portal. With 1 eye. So adding the rest meant I still needed 6. Plus 1 for safety. So up on the surface I got to work. Getting an oh so precious grass block. This will be important for later. I placed my 2 new eyes in, but I still had a long way to go. So to kill the time, I took down the library. And Enderman hunted some more. There were no close calls. I like hiding in holes. I continued to fill up my goodies chest and started to wood chop before realizing Endermen aren't going to spawn because of the rain. So I had to sleep. Boat. I got a horse and watched a majestic cow watch a majestic sunset. Using my new boats to Enderman fight as the mobs are crazy now. Zombies everywhere, creepers creeping. If Mojang wanted was to increase the difficulty, they definitely did so. I chopped a different kind of wood during this day, then it was back to row your boat. Which gave me enough pearls. So I said goodbye to horse and started preparing for the dragon fight. Enchanting my bow gave me punch 1. Are you kidding me? On a level 30 enchant? I fixed up the place a bit as I always like to leave something better than how I found it. Then it was time for what we have all been waiting for. After a quick re-enchant, I hopped in, didn't even need to throw a pearl. Amazing. The armor glitch is still a thing, but nothing turning on and off won't fix. I feel the random towers have made me a better shooter, as I made light work of these orderly ones. Having the caged ones last, I used the extra pearls I had to open them up. Then I shot them from a safe distance. The dragon had no chance once the towers were on. She still got some work to do to make me sweat, even with her new magic attack. She did have a trick up her wing though, as she started to die, but not really, so I had to shoot her again. Then she did for reals. but all the XP fell under her magic, so it was a big tease for a bit. Grabbing the egg, I can safely say the end has been freed. Bringing me to my goals. First, easy peasy. Get to the end as soon as I can. Took me 16 days, roughly 4.5 hours. Second, free the end. Well, would you look at that? I'm 2 for 2. Then last but not least, survive and thrive in the end. Time to make this place hospitable and hopefully not fall to my death. Again. First thing on the list was to place dirt under my feet. The end stone is cold and my feet get chilly. I also got organized. A project of this size requires constant vigilance. And water. Lots of water. I also made firework rockets, which were added back in 1.4. Who knew? Then I accidentally went through the portal and kinda spoiled my big twist. I shall only be in the overworld for 1 day every 10 days. So I headed back and started looking for the new goodies. Spawning right by it. Lucky me. So I started taking over the end city. Shulkers are still super annoying, and they have none of the benefits, as no shulker shells. But the cities do have loot. A lot of loot. But we're all here for one specific item really. The elytra. Woohoo! I got the dragon head too. It was pretty crazy to see how nothing has changed on the end since this update, as everything was the same but the shulker shells. Which I guess that's something that has changed. So okay, I take it back. Shortly after getting my first piece of diamond armor, I cleared out the whole city. So I flew to the next one right next to it. No complaining about luck on this version. I carefully landed and proceeded to take all the valuables left by past people. Sometimes they didn't have chests. What a tease. I continued to do this for a while, and once I got bored, I started collecting chorus fruit. But apparently shooting chorus flowers ain't a thing. Gotta mine it. I planted it back at home and started to terraform. But once day 20 came, there was only one thing on my mind. Overworld time. For some sweet, sweet dirt. The whole day. Yep, a whole 20 minutes mining dirt. That's all I get. Back home, I started to play around to see what items were added. Cause I try not to look up stuff when I'm playing. EditorRef does know it all though. I expanded the spawning platform so I could light it up. You don't really notice how dark it is in the end. Then I made a giant staircase. By then, my tree had grown. And let me tell you, shooting mechanics had not come soon enough. After playing around with my food, I went back to the stairs to actually build them, as jumping is for peasants. And I'm the captain now. Jumping through end portals with your elytra ain't a thing. So Enderman had to take one for the team. I needed more fruit, so once my inventory was full, I missed 2 pearls, recharged, then headed back home, where I expanded my chorus empire and used my sweet, sweet dirt to expand my living area. Enderman caught stealing gets the sword. I started making a circle, but my circle intolerance acted up again, so I had to switch to a square. A perfect square. I was just short on a bit of dirt, but can't do anything about it right now, so I farm. I did accidentally go through the portal, but don't worry, I held my breath and came right back. Testing to see if I could do it again, I couldn't. So farming time. I wanted to see how close I could get to the overworld living, so when I went back, I grabbed more dirt, lava, and little things I had left behind. Then it was time to make a key part of my living in the inn. A way to bring more stuff, because that's pretty much all I wanted, stuff. So I opened up a hole where I could throw anything and everything in, even myself. Using my new dirt gather, I completed my square, kinda, and started making an outline to take care of my Enderman problem, as I can grab dirt that's not exposed to air on the other side. I also took it a step farther and placed water on the other side to really exterminate the OGs of these lands. I accidentally broke my pick, but not the end of the world, and completed the staircase. But running out of purple is a big issue. So I flew far away and started deforesting the already barren land. I played with fire, and made a very pretty inventory. So while waiting for all of it to smelt, I used the opportunity to use my 70 levels. Running out of lapis quite quickly. Only one seed was finally ready. Must be the lack of sun. Then after completing the outline, I made an anvil. But didn't use it, as I had purple. And once you have purple, there's really only one thing you can do. Tree planting was next, but my kind of trees. I was really liking the way it was looking, but I did have to get angry at the dark oak. And that's all it took to get it to grow. I made 4 color pens, And using my iron for hose, as it's less valuable to me than cobblestone at the moment, I got my farmland ready. With seeds and carrots getting to move in. Then getting ready for the oat trip the next day, I added fortune to my pig. And with day 40 coming along, it was game time. Moving in the animals that had gracefully come down to my portal all on their own. They were eager beavers. After making oak trapdoors with dark oak, I made the fall a bit better for the animals and started launching them. And it worked! So I continued sending more, and once night came, I headed down to the caves for any goodies. Diamonds weren't necessary, but appreciated. The next day, I moved the animals into a temporary home, as I hadn't completed the animal pens, and completed the dirt placing. So I got going on their new homes. Quite embarrassing to bring them over and not have their pens ready. Some things were on the way, so they had to go. Once the pens were ready, I didn't move the animals in. Instead, I had purple. Nice. My entrance was looking quite good, if I do say so myself. Then finally, I started moving the animals. Dropping off the one sheep, must have felt pretty bummed to be the first one off the group. Missed out on repopulation? You were here before? Putting aside that huge revelation, I started to farm, making sure to use my fortune pick for seeds. My horse got a pen all to themselves. Royalty. Then on the edge of the base, I made my new sugarcane farm. And I continue with flooding the end. Aha, Minecraft reference. Now serious time. 9 eggs. 3 chickens. Repopulating cows in the end is no easy task, but someone's gotta do it. I enchanted a new helmet as the race didn't yield me one. What's up with that? Past me had the same question as he made a bunch of ladders and flew far, far away. Finding a pretty glitchy city, but the ship survived, so I'll cut Minecraft some slack. There was also a city in the distance, so Minecraft, take all the slack. My inventory was full immediately. It's a shame there's shulkers, but no shulker boxes. Felt like being thirsty in the ocean. More often than not, armor pieces had fire protection on it, which means the ancient builders either had a lot of fires or no fires, and they just stored it. Happy with my loot, I went back home and marveled at my riches. I'm usually not this loaded on this series, so this was pretty cool. Unlike in my world, where I don't just have a gunpowder chest full. Oh no, that's just scratching the surface, my friend. My single carrot had grown, so fortunate gave me 2. We are here for the long game, people. More cows, more cows. Enchanting time, I made some new pieces to really become OP, as there's no grindstone, so I couldn't get rid of all the fire protection stuff. I did only get Unbreaking 3 though, but a Sharpness 4 Looting 3 is a pretty easy way to cheer me up. Please, it's too much. But keep it coming. Next oat trip was used to gather extra wood and items I didn't have. But I had to change plans as I trapped a pig, so I quickly pivoted to making a path to bring them home. This was pretty addicting, so I continued with the sheep. Now that I had sent most of the animals in my area through, I decided the forest had to go. So using lava, I started a control fire. Hahaha, peasant. This will prove to be a mistake, but no spoilers. Only the sheep has survived the fall. R.I.P. pigs. I brought home the traumatized sheep and made it all okay with a baby. The pig was delicious. Then I started on something I knew I had to do, but really didn't want to, opening up the entrance by mining an obsidian tower. But like most things I overthink, it wasn't too bad. It really upgraded the place too. So I fortuned everything, harvested my plants, and started preparing to build my actual home. Can you tell what it is? I bet you can't. It's impossible. What about now? Okay, now you gotta know. Come on. It's impossible not to know. I'm gonna be living in an end city. I know, I really thought hard on that one. While preparing my house shower, I realized I had a beetroot seed. So right to its pen it goes. Then while gathering my things, a cow popped by. I know I said I would repopulate you, but not right now. Right now, I'm enjoying my new cozy home. Ah, isn't it beautiful? Day 60 didn't just mean oat trip. It also included end trip. Spawning at the old nether portal, I went straight to the blaze spawner. Again, there was no close calls. Making a new portal to link it to the stronghold, I said goodbye to the overworld. And went straight to work, replacing every torch with an end rod, and fortuning the beets. Sadly, I needed an extra rod in the middle of the pens, as the seeds were picky, but this made it look pretty bad. So I ignored it and continued to farm. This side looks better. Getting a cinematic shot of the place was harder than expected. Big day for me as I finally completed the carrots. So I made myself gold ones to celebrate. The eating animation at the moment isn't the best. Then it was back to flying. Picking a new direction this time, I started looking for my fellow neighbors, but they never greeted me nicely. So I attacked. I did things I wouldn't otherwise do, but you'll see why later. Then the mother lode. This community had 3 cities right beside each other, so I took everything I could get my hands on. I was spamming space so much. More fire protection later, I kept raiding. Cities just kept appearing. It was great. My ender chest got full though, so I knew the fun had to come to an end, but not before getting bottles. Then I called it a day. Being risky again, I do not approve of this behavior. But eventually I did make it home, and you know I had to organize everything. Now using the windows I had secretly stolen from my neighbors, I finished the place. Kinda. But I did have more seeds, so I harvested and bred my animals. With some trying to escape again. Can't complain when you're eating golden carrots though. Brewing stand's gotta be powered now. So using the newly obtained glass bottles, I got it all ready for my next O trip. I caught a rascal breaking in, so I swiftly took care of the issue. Then crafting an axe, because there's no axes on the cities. Absolutely zero. Tons of fire protection items, but no axes. So it means they used them all chopping down the purple and had no fires, so they just chucked all the armor away. Game theory, you're welcome. I enchanted that axe and combined the swords to make it the best of the best. Using my new tool, I got mushrooms. Not for tripping, but for potions. I did get high though, very high, so I could jump off and fly. I went as far as I could so I could use the rest of the day to make my way back, while gathering new items, which were mostly flowers and clay, freaking clay. Then I watched the sunset, realizing how much I missed it. Nighttime still meant item gathering and a lot of creeper killing, finding exactly what I wanted, a zombie villager. So sending him through, I was very excited for him to have despawned. It probably was way too good to be true. At least I have flowers, so I placed them everywhere and moved my trees. Sheep started to learn from the cows. I hope they don't become escaped condition. Pumpkin seeds work on chickens, but not today. They are for farming today. This drifter was harder to take care of. Then I got to use my new brewing setup. This is why it would have been perfect if the zombie survived. Using my super rare bones, I started to grow trees with this oak eating it all up. Greedy guy. Just for it to grow naturally. Showcasing all my woods was pretty exciting, but I didn't like how my flowers looked, so I chopped them all up. Moving all the flowers to the front looked much better. I still don't like the amount of ruts laying around, but I don't know how to fix it, so I left everything behind and went tree chopping. A lot of tree chopping. Had to leave this ender chest behind, has no silk touch on me. Once I was satisfied with my fruit picking, I went home, making fun of my past self for not completing the path. I smelted all my food and took care of my land. And started a new project, a prettier path to my end gate. This shot was so nice I got it twice. Connecting the paths together wasn't hard, just a little slow. And of course I ran out of stairs at the last one. This is very endstone expensive, so I did have to mine quite a bit from under my base. Endermen kept getting in the way, but they couldn't stop me. You can still only place 2 blocks down instead of 3. The place was looking a little dark, so I got even more ruts. Here's where I noticed that the day counter is shown on the F3 screen, which I remember not seeing it until version 1.15 when Luke posted the first 100 days video. So Minecraft, are you updating old versions? If so, please don't do that. Time traveling is already messy and I can't have the game changing after I played it. Another O trip, I fixed the transporting safety mechanism, and this time I used ladders to get to the top of the tower. And I built it even higher. How high here, yeah? Well, to the height limit, of course. So after checking on my elytra, I set off, going for a very, very long time, which I ended up regretting as it was taking me a long time to get back. So I decided to test out how far would I go with a rocket, only to find out that that's not a thing in this version. Meaning all the time I was flying in the end, all loosey-goosey, I could have died. So I watched the sunset to calm down and made my way home. Here I realized my second mistake. For some reason the fire left random sources of light all around my area, which defeated the purpose of clearing out the trees as I wanted to open up the space for some mobs to spawn. So not the best day in the office. Now I started experimenting by sending a normal zombie through. We'll check up on him later, as I saw a pig. So I paused everything just for me to fall through the portal accidentally. So I rushed back. Finding another one gave me hope that at least one of them survived. I finished the day by sand gathering. Sadly, no pig survived. So I took care of all the animals I actually had, and continued to expand my pumpkin farm. The beetroot field got completed on day 82. Dwight will not be proud. He will say I took too long. Wanting more color in my life and not wanting to wait for 1.12, I decided to sacrifice a couple of flowers so I could dye my sheep. I also restocked on pearls in case I fell off while making my roof. As you know, safety first. The hallway was looking great, but the stairs still needed a bit of work. The outside leaves something to be desired, but we're in the end, and things levitate. So I left it, and started to come up with my overpowered armor, but I needed more levels, so Enderman, I'm so sorry. The plainness of the floor was still bothering me, so I fixed it by adding layers. Then I went back to my OP journey, and started to upgrade my tools. Day 88 was special, as I towered up the towers and started to upgrade them. I tried making this a bit more fun by trying to teleport to the top. Enderman make it look so easy. My victory had grown, but it didn't mean I got better at throwing pearls. I knew my dirt was hot commodity, so I had to protect it with endstone. Teleporting from the top is much easier. I felt like Spider-Man, but not actually. This is not 1.1. I got pretty lucky here. I think the game didn't want me dying so close to O-Day. I mean end day. I was on the hunt for new stuff, and you know, I couldn't say no to Magma Cube. Another one. At night, I went up to the surface, and started making something I should have done a long time ago. A staircase down to the portal so my friends don't keep dying. So testing it on a cow, it worked. This is really not going to work if my expensive sheep run away. My tower tree started to grow, so I tested out a new plant and grew mushrooms. For once, the darkness of the end works on my favor. This cow knew what he was doing. Good boy. I finished the placing of the tower trees and started to scale up my place. Nom 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 nom. My pearls appeared to be disappearing, but I just needed one to work. I extended my end tower so I could fly even farther. I wanted my last flight in the end to be my biggest. I also started to be a bit careless. So to calm down, I went house bulldozing. These two Endermen spawned right on my line of sight. So an intense chase started. I won. So I continued raiding. And going from city to city, I got pretty good at knowing where the chests were. I felt like a professional raider. So if you need someone to help grow your end empire, don't hesitate to call me. You know how I upgraded my shovel? Well, I found an even better one. It's quite peaceful flying around the end, but I do wish there were lights though. It would improve the vibe so much. My inventory got so full I had to leave behind the iron stuff, which I don't know why I was collecting it on the first place. This dragon head thought it could get away from me. Get over here. More fire protection later, my ender chest finally got full. So I nabbed my last dragon head and said goodbye to my last end city raid of the version. It was an emotional moment. I understand if you feel the need to cry. Going through memory lane as I kept finding old cities I had raided before. Ah, memories. Once I made it back home, it spawned me on the roof of my new build. So I broke a hole on the roof and got the experience I wanted. Then last O-Trip, where I found new pigs. It's like the world really wanted me to have living ones. So I took them to the VIP entrance. And boom, it worked. They might not be the smartest of the bunch, but they sure are cute. Then I finished the 100 days by watching the sunset. I'ma miss this update. It felt like a challenge instead of the usual survival, so it was a nice spice to add in. I couldn't finish in the overworld though, so I went back home and said goodbye to my base. Almost died here. Thought I had my Elytra on. That would have been pretty funny, huh? And in case you don't believe me, day 100 in-game, baby. Okay, bye now. Okay, no, bye now. And that's everything for this episode. Thanks for watching 1.9, and come back next week for version 1.10, the Frostburn update. Halfway point, baby! That's actually crazy. Halfway. It's fine. It's absolutely fine.